Welcome to Cups and Courage, the podcast. Today's guest is Toni. Toni was diagnosed in November 2020 on her 60th birthday. She had a lumpectomy followed by radiotherapy. Cups and Courage, the podcast. Welcome, Toni. Thank you for being with me today. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Me too.
Thank you. But first, before we go on, you have brought your favourite biscuits.
I have.
They are in here. I always try and guess based on whether I know the person or not, or, you know.
Okay.
I'm not going to try because I've known you far too long. So. Oh, lovely. Would you like a piece of shortbread?
I'd love a piece of shortbread.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it?
Lovely.
These are good because they're quite dunkable, right?
I don't dunk.
Oh, do you not?
No.
Okay. So we're going to start off with a big question.
Okay.
What's your definition of courage?
Of courage. I think it's just facing whatever comes my way. I've kind of always done that. I think it just helps build your resilience. Yeah.
Just getting on with it.
Absolutely, yeah. And just not letting it beat you, whatever that thing might be.
Yeah.
Sure.
I hear that. So Toni, just a little bit about you. You were diagnosed in November 2020.
That's right.
On your 60th birthday.
Yes.
That's rubbish. That's a rubbish birthday
It wasn't great.
And it was picked up through a routine mammogram.
Yes.
Just a normal screening.
Yeah, just went along to have it done and, was called back very quickly.
Okay. How quickly? How quick was that?
Oh, within just over a week, I think.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, yes, absolutely.
Wait times can be variable, can't they? So, okay. So, and then you have a lumpectomy.
Had a lumpectomy just before Christmas.
Okay.
A few days before.
Okay. And then radiation in the new year, radiotherapy.
Yes, had radiation, yeah.
And you didn't have a great experience with radiation?
No, it was really, it burnt me, blistered me. Yeah. Was exhausting.
Yeah. Was this was daily?
Yes.
Daily.
Yeah.
Every day for
every
3
day
weeks.
for I can't remember how many weeks, but it was a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I think radiotherapy as well as the physical. I mean, I didn't burn, so I can't imagine what the physical thing on that one was. But it's the ongoing. You have to go there, come back,
yes,
go there, and come back.
Absolutely, and relying on people to take you.
Yeah,
which was, people were great. Was really blessed.
But that's brings on quite a lot of fatigue as well.
Yeah.
I remember when I went for radiotherapy, there was a jigsaw puzzle in the waiting room.
Oh, right.
And so because the people that were going for radiotherapy also were going every day for however long. And so bit by bit, you'd see the same faces and you'd all add your bits into the jigsaw puzzle. I thought it was really lovely.
I think that was really good.
It's a nice way to connect.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure the jigsaw puzzle got finished.
Yes, I'm sure it did.
Over 3 weeks. Okay. And so fast forward, you're now on an anastrozole, which is an aromatase inhibitor.
Yes.
It's a drug.
Yeah.
And that's because your cancer was estrogen.
Yes. Hormone. Yeah.
And so this has an aim to reduce that estrogen even further.
That's right.
And really just try and reduce that risk of recurrence for as long as possible.
Yes, that's the
so
plan.
Good old menopause. And
well, I'd already done the menopause, but it kind of almost puts you back into it because you just get the really hot flushes.
So you'd gone through the menopause?
I'd done a really early menopause.
Okay, and out the other side?
Yes, yeah.
Fine, and then now you're taking this drug and it's pulling you back?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I'm always interested about that, obviously, because I went through the menopause. I had my ovaries and tubes removed, and so at 40. So I went through, surgical menopause, and then I took anastrozole. And I wonder what the difference would be if I was...
Well, actually, I think when I went through the natural menopause, I didn't really have too many. I had the odd hot flush and that was it.
Okay.
So this feels almost worse. I feel like I've had a double whammy, but
Yeah.
worse this time.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah.
that. Okay, so you've had quite a lot, and that was also through COVID time as well, wasn't it?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
So how did
Yeah.
COVID impact those early days? You know, in terms of the discovery of it.
Yeah, I just stayed home because I was vulnerable. So I just didn't really go out for a year. Just stayed in the house.
Yeah, I hear that. Okay, and so
and I
how-
broke my arm quite badly as well. I just slipped and I broke it in 3 places. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, that was a tough old.
it was a tough year. Yeah, and I don't know if the cancer had anything to do with that. They were surprised that it was such a bad break. And I'm now having bone scans every year.
That's good.
So
because that's part of the kind of the drug pathway as well.
Yes,
Right? Because we can get a higher chance of
yes, absolutely.
osteo, you know, and arthritis,
Yes,
osteoporosis, and all those things. So keeping a monitoring on it is pretty
Absolutely.
good. How has your? This is a really tough, I suppose, question.
It's
but
okay.
How's your cancer journey impacted you?
Interesting. When I initially found out that I had breast cancer, they told me straight away there was absolutely no mistake even before they did biopsies. And my daughter was with me and she was devastated. And I think when anything really happens in life, I'm the one who kind of sorts it all out. So I kind of just thought, okay, I'll just deal with it. And then it wasn't until about a year after I kind of thought, oh my goodness,
Okay.
that was quite big and life changing in some ways.
And I think, as you say, if you're just getting on with it, you know, you've got a big family.
Sure.
I've known you for a very long time, so I know how big your family is. And also, if you've been that person that looks after everybody else and manages those things, I suppose there's maybe you're going into autopilot.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And maybe not wanting to look at it actually.
Yeah.
Hadn't really got time to really, I just needed to do what I needed to do. And yeah.
And then the year after then, how did you know it impacted you? Like, what was going on that made you feel different?
I just knew my body was different.
Okay.
And that really upset me.
Did it?
It was, yeah.
Different as in?
I'd always had really good boobs.
Yeah.
And I can say they were perfect, as you know. I know some people have different sizes and all of that, but that was a part of me that was really good.
Yeah.
And then for it not to be, I suddenly thought, wow. Yeah.
I get that. I say, so you've had a lumpectomy, and what was it like afterwards? Was there a visible dent? Was there a big shift in the symmetry of your body?
Definitely.
Okay.
So my left breast is much smaller now and dented.
Yeah.
And most probably nobody would notice, but I know. Yeah. So yeah, that's really, really tough. I almost feel like if I'd lost a chunk out of my leg, or I know lost a finger, or it wouldn't have impacted in the same way. I just think it's part of our womanhood, isn't it? It's part of our it was a part of my identity actually, growing, you know, as a young woman. And so yeah.
Well, this is such an interesting conversation because breasts are such a big part of, you know, the female anatomy, female body, but we have varying relationships with our breasts depending on who we are.
Absolutely.
And actually, if you've got a really good relationship with your boobs, they've always been part of your, you know, identity, something you're proud of, something that you love, and then not.
Yeah, but yeah.
You know, especially if it's, well, not especially, but also if it's one side and not the other side, you know?
Yeah, because the one that's as it always was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have a good relationship with my boobs before, right? So and they weren't a big part of my identity.
Okay.
Which is why I find it so important to make sure we're all having the right conversations with our healthcare professionals, because our healthcare professional wouldn't necessarily know how important our boobs are to us.
No.
Because they're trying to get the cancer out.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and so the impact of a loss of a breast or loss of part of a breast or is different. So I always think it's always really important to have the conversation, because I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have known how important, that was to you. And so a year later, you've got to this place where it's impacted you. You've realised things aren't the same. How have you managed to move through that? Or...
How am I managing to go through it?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't get changed with anyone around. Okay. I'm used to going away with girlfriends and things, and but I would just always go to a bathroom to get changed. We were going to go swimming or anything like that. So I am really self-conscious. So, and I think my children were asking me about dating, and I was saying, I just don't think I want to. Because I just don't feel the same, and I'm, so I'm quite happy on my own.
We've had people that I've spoken to who have, the medical professionals have said, but if you're going to make that change, and what about if you're dating? What about what your partner would want? And when I hear that, I always kind of go, what? Why does it matter? But I actually hear, for some of us, it does matter. It matters what those things, feel and look like. Because if you don't feel confident in your skin, or if you don't feel confident in that space, I can understand the impact there.
Yeah, I wonder if I'd still been married and it had happened, we journeyed together, that might have been slightly different to having somebody new.
What would you say if it was one of your girls? If they came and said, "Mum, I've got breast." They've gone through the same journey as you.
Yeah.
And they were saying the same things around. I don't want to get changed in front of others. I want, I'll do that in private, and I don't really want to have a relationship because I don't want to put my words into yours.
No.
But what would you say?
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Because it's. I think, I would say to them, you are gorgeous. You're not just your breasts. You're not just your female bits. You've got personality, and you've got a heart, and you've all of that. And I would definitely, try and encourage them. And yet, it's different medicine, isn't it? Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would definitely just encourage them and just love them into knowing who they are as a person.
We need to replay that back, by the way, when this comes out. You need to listen to that.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not. I'm not downsizing your feelings at all, because those are real.
It's just it is.
I won't change. Depends where I am, but if I'm swimming, let's say, I'll always go into a private bathroom to get changed unless it's empty.
Right.
But different reasons, I think.
Yes. Okay.
I don't know if different reasons, but I always, in my head, I get worried, especially if younger people are in there, children, like young children.
Sure. I
don't want to not frighten, but my body looks different. Visibly different to me, to you, so and I will avoid sometimes having that conversation in certain situations.
Sure.
I don't avoid the conversation if someone wants to talk about it, but I won't actively in that kind of space.
And it's interesting, isn't it, because we try and teach our children and our sons that our bodies are all different. They're all different shapes, and they've got marks and, blemishes. And we try and give that positive body image, don't we? And yet, for ourselves, when something really traumatic happens, we kind of look at it differently.
Yeah, I agree. But do you think as well, because we carry it, it's the impact is our own, so we're not bothered,
Yeah.
Because actually, what you're saying as well around the dating thing, you're actually really happy. Or I'm hearing that you're happy by yourself, and there's not a real. But if you weren't happy, if you desperately wanted to have a relationship, and whether or not the feelings that you have around your body impacted your ability to find it, but actually, just if you're happy in yourself and happy, then it's not really about. It's not just about that. It's about other things.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so let's go back into the healthcare experience that you've had. Because what I understand from you is actually, on the whole, you've had quite a positive experience within the healthcare, medical professionals.
Yes, absolutely. So initially when I first went and was told, absolutely amazing staff, spent lots of time. And she actually said, I can spend as long as you need, which is very
Is that
unusual.
a breast cancer nurse, or is that your consultant?
This was a consultant, yeah. I think she was a consultant. She was doing the screening. She was
maybe the radiologist,
and she was doing biopsies.
Yes.
And, and she was just lovely, really
the
great.
Time and space you needed.
Yeah.
And this was pre-diagnosis, or was this post?
This is when they diagnosed me.
This is at diagnosis
sort of at stage 1, really.
Okay. And how was the experience with consultants and surgeons and
with the consultant, it was quite good. My daughter Molly was there, and she just kept asking questions and writing everything down. And in the end, he said to her, just stop asking questions. Let me finish talking, and then I will answer all your questions, which he did. And he did it really nicely.
I get, because in that space, actually, I think as a loved one coming into support, she's got lots of things that she needs to get out, but also you've got this, a consultant who might be going through those things anyway. And but it's hard to, that would have been interesting for you to be almost in that little triangle of care.
Yes. It was, because I knew where she was coming from, and I also knew, his time's probably limited, but it had a good outcome. And how was communication? Do you feel like you were kept in the loop with things? I felt that was all really well. At one point, I kept feeling like I'd got another lump, and I remember going and seeing them, and she said she just thinks that was some after swelling and things, but she was great. She was really lovely, and she said it looked really good, and so that was good. The bit I didn't think was so good was after the follow-up mammograms. So you go to the hospital to have them, and you just go in and have your mammogram, and that's it. There's no conversation, and you're left with that. Well, is it all right? Isn't it all right? Last time I came for one, it wasn't all right. And they're not able to give you any information, so you're just kind of waiting. You're in that
back in the system again.
Space. Yeah. And that happens every time.
That is tricky, isn't it? Because obviously it's a mechanism, and everybody needs to go through that, who has breasts from a certain point in that screening program, and that's the right thing to do. But actually there's also the demographic of people who have had experience with cancer, and whether or not that's taken into consideration, the emotional impact of having a mammogram and waiting. Because the last time you waited was to find out you had cancer. Sure. So I do think there's,
and I think you can they clearly saw it straight away, and I just think, just look at the pictures, you'll see if there's anything there.
So last time they could tell you, they told you immediately that they
well,
could see something.
no, they called me back.
They called you back.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they said you could mistake it. So I'm thinking, I wonder if the radiologist saw it.
Yeah, they can't say though, can they? So it's
No. So yeah, that's a bit tough. Yeah.
Can I mention something you mentioned to me off camera just before we started? Please do. Drink your tea and eat your biscuit, because did you say you're a dunk? You're not a dunker, are you? Okay, fine. We were talking just before off camera, and you said, yeah, but it's not as bad as yours or something.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I can't remember the words. And I went, stop.
Yeah.
It's all relative. But I'm really interested because I hear this quite a lot. You know, in conversations I have with friends, people will go, yeah, but it's not as bad as that person, or it's not as bad as this. So that, and we almost kind of try and, I don't know what it is, not reshape it, but we bring it down depending on who we're around.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think, you know, when you hear about somebody who's had something quite big, quite major, and you've had something that's less, you just think, you know, you're really blessed. You're very lucky that you've got away with what you've got away with. But then your point was, actually, that doesn't matter because it's about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm interested because so many people, like I hear this a lot, and I wonder how many people actually sit and go, well, because I think there's a fine line to go perspective.
Yes.
Right, to be able to reshape and resize because we need to keep moving forward or whatever that is, and we need to keep functioning. But it's also giving our own experience enough validation.
Yes, yeah,
we've had a psychologist on the podcast, and she said it doesn't matter if you're stage 1 or stage 4 in terms of the feeling of grief.
Yes.
You know, those feelings are, you know, the same. You know, the feeling of grief, the feeling of loss, the feeling of isolation, the fear, they can be the same.
Absolutely.
And yeah, some people have different experiences through their journeys, which means that they've had a bit of a rough go at it, you know.
Sure.
But I don't think it's necessarily any, I don't know, worse, better.
No. And that's interesting because we don't have these conversations, do we?
We don't.
We don't allow ourselves to think.
The fear is the fear,
yes,
you know, and you get it. You know, I can talk to you about cancer and you 100% understand what I'm talking about, and you understand my fear. Just
Absolutely.
Because, you know, we've had different cancers, it doesn't mean that we can't connect in that space. But it's interesting. I notice it because I hear a lot, you know, well, it's not as bad as what you've had, or it's not as bad as what she's had, or not quite as bad. So it's this shaping that we do internally.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, there's definitely conversations to be had.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know me anyway, and we both say this, we're both real open books about our experiences. And I have known you for a really long time.
Yes.
Because when I was at school, you were one of my very good friends' mum. You still are one of my friends' mum.
Yeah.
So I've known you a lot of my life. And then my kids were at school where you were in charge of their pastoral care.
Yes,
that space
they shared your journey with me, and I was able to support them.
Yeah, and
which was lovely.
And so this almost feels full circle, really. Us sitting together as two adults having a shared experience, because I remember sitting with you in, you know, a school classroom.
Yeah, you were in my nurture room.
That's it.
Yeah.
With my two kids who would have been, they were both primary school age, so I don't know, 5 and 7.
Yeah.
And actually,
7.
in my chaos, I remember feeling like it was chaos. You absolutely held space and just let me talk and let me be in all the mess and the fear that I was sitting in. And so thank you, because you know, as a mother as well.
And it was a joy to support Jack and Molly, actually, and for them to feel they could do that, they could be open, they could share. in a safe space. So that was really lovely. That was a privilege.
Yeah, thank you. But I just, how things come around.
Yes.
How have your family coped with this? Because obviously you're the matriarch, right? You're like a powerhouse of a mother. And as you said, you're the doer. You bring everybody together. You pull that together, and obviously
it's interesting because they all look at it differently, don't they? Gemma's very dramatic, always has been. So it's kind of, it was the worst thing that could ever happen. And Chloe was a bit quieter. Just, she would write me nice notes and, just, are you okay? And just checking in. Kezia lives with me and she was just fantastic. She would cook, clean, she'll do all of that, and she's just lovely. The boys, Jack was really upset about the whole situation. I think it was different for boys because I was just their mum, and if I'm not around, who's going to look after them all and be there? Dan, he keeps his cards very close to his chest. He doesn't really say very much, but it's just his actions and little things he does. And he'll just message and he'd say, you okay? And you're going to be all right, mum. It was always you're going to be all right, and I have a faith as well, so that was really important to me.
How much was that?
Incredibly.
What does that look like
for me? It was like I really trust God. I trust God in everything. And I don't just follow him when things are good. And I remember saying, what am I going to learn from this? What are you going to teach me? And how am I going to help others? That was kind of where I was going with it. Yeah.
Thank you. I have the same questions, but I don't. But it's not necessarily to.
Sure.
But it's the same. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do think that having an anchor, whether it's family and religion, faith, whatever it is really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
But belief in something.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be a defined religion, but it's but if it works and helps you and brings peace and
and hope
and
but not just for me, for other people, because it's just part of our journey, isn't it? And it's what we do with it,
that's what courage is for me. So I know we say putting one foot in front of the other and moving forward, and it is. But I also think it is about how we choose to put one foot in front of the other.
Yes. I get that.
Because intrinsically, you are a giver, and you are kind for others. You help others. You provide for others. And that's how I've always known you. For you to work in a nurturing space for other children, I've always known you in that capacity anyway.
Yes.
So for your, it's almost inbuilt. How can I help others? How can I? Has that helped you move through your own cancer, having a wider?
Yes, yeah, and I'm just really blessed with lovely kids, 6 lovely kids, lovely friends, that will drop things in an instant and make dinner, and I've just been really blessed by kindness of others.
I also think you are very kind and you bless others, because I think that's it, isn't it? We give and we get back from the same.
Yeah.
So I think that you give to others as much as they give to you. So they are as blessed as you are, I think, in that space.
And actually, we forget that by letting people love you and do things for you when things are tough, actually, it's really helpful for them as well. So it's,
that's key. That shift in mindset, I think, is key, especially for females who are used to doing it all.
Yes.
They're doing it all, taking care, making sure everybody is where they need to be. And then suddenly we're hit by something which renders us quite vulnerable and quite compromised, for us to get our head around not doing it all. I remember when I was quite poorly with chemo, I found it really hard not to still do, even though, I'm falling apart at the seams. And so my only way to motivate that change of mind was going, it is good for other people. It's good for my kids to learn how to give. And I'm taking away that opportunity for them to, and anybody, my family, I'm taking away the opportunity for someone to help. Because I would hate someone to take away the opportunity for me to help.
Yes,
if you needed me, I would want that opportunity to help you.
Absolutely. And that's a part of life. It's a part of how we evolve and how we get a richness of living, actually, is by being there for each other and allowing each other to be there when we need it. And that's okay.
I think, you were saying the different ways that your kids help and provide support and the value they bring. And I think it's reflective of all the different ways that people can provide support and show love. If someone is going through their own, cancer journey, and somebody, let's say someone's listening and they know someone who's going through cancer and they go, well, what can I do to help? I can't do anything. I feel helpless. Actually, there's loads of ways that you can show love.
A card through the door. A bunch of flowers on the doorstep, just a kind word. Don't avoid. And it's okay. And if it's not, you can say, actually, this isn't a good time, but another time. So it's being honest and being able to have those conversations.
Did you find people in your life changed, when you were diagnosed and going through cancer? Was, did your friendship group, did that change shape at all?
Didn't change shape, because it just grew, because we just seem to love each other more, and life is precious.
My friendship group did change, I think. Or maybe I changed, and but I remember seeing people avoid. My perception of the situation, there were some people that would avoid, cross the street, metaphorically, because maybe didn't want to have the conversation, didn't want to be faced with whatever, or that was my perception of it in the time. At the time, I think if we were to go back and look at it, it might look slightly different objectively, but I remember thinking, some people that were around at that point are no longer around.
Right. Okay.
And that's okay as well. But
that's kind of, it's like grief, isn't it? People don't know what to do with it.
They don't. Yeah. And whether or not you swallow it and just kick it under the carpet and just hope it's going to go away, or you...
And I think that's the important thing. And I was very lucky that my friends were just all there and my family were there. I was really, really lucky. But I hear what you're saying, and I think people are just, they don't know what to say. It's almost like, I don't want to look at it, it's too scary, and what do you say? I don't want to say the wrong thing. And there is no right or wrong thing to say.
There are a few wrong things to say, Toni. You've been very diplomatic. People can say the wrong thing.
Well, I guess if somebody came up to me and said, you are really lopsided now, that would, maybe you're right.
People maybe not intending to, but maybe I'm sure not everybody intends to say the wrong thing.
No.
And we do sometimes we say daft things when we're under a bit of stress or pressure or whatever, and we don't mean.
No.
There are some, I've had some shockers come out.
Have you?
Yeah.
Tell me one.
Oh, I can't. I think that there's a real quick reflex of sometimes when we want to build rapport with someone, you'll say something and I might go, oh, I know, I've had that, and I've done that, or that's the intention is to create a little bit of familiarity or shared experience. But I've had people, say, oh, you've got cancer. Or my aunt died of cancer. That and I'm not sure the intention behind that, whether it's sharing their experience or whatever. But that's not the right thing to say in that moment.
No.
I think sometimes it's about appropriateness of the environment and maybe appropriateness of the situation that you're in. Because if someone is knee deep in chemotherapy, and you're coming in and telling them that there are some mushrooms that they can eat that's going to cure them, instead of doing so, that's not helpful.
No.
And so,
no, I hear you.
That is far and few between. That doesn't happen all the time. But the last thing you want to do for somebody who's going through, something difficult is to almost, I suppose, you should be doing this. Have you not tried this? Have you tried, well-intended maybe, not helpful. I think there's intention and impact are two very different things.
Absolutely. No, that's really interesting.
So it's a tricky one. I don't think anybody sets out to be unkind or intentionally hurtful or not helpful. But sometimes, and it also makes us reflect on how we behave and how if someone tells me something, and this concept of holding space.
Yes.
Which is probably, that terminology is probably fairly new. What holding space means is just exactly what you're doing for me. Right? It's just creating space for someone to talk without trying to fix a problem.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think...
listen, talk, but don't fix. We don't need fixing.
Yeah.
It's kind of... It's not the job of your friends.
Yeah, it's not.
Their job is to listen and to love and to hold you.
That's it, and be there, as unconditionally as possible.
Absolutely.
I'm going to ask you a personal question, and you can say, I don't want to answer this, and then we can edit it out.
Okay.
You were married for a long time.
I was.
And then so the since you've been single, was that before cancer or is that after cancer?
After cancer.
After cancer.
Sorry, no, before cancer. I was married. And then divorced, and then we remarried.
Okay.
For a while.
Okay.
But no, we were divorced. I've been on my own. Yeah.
So you did. You did everything on your own.
So yeah.
So friends and family really are quite important, right? That support network.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you said, if you had been married, if you had been in a relationship, would that have changed how you feel about your body?
That's interesting, isn't it? Because you would hope that your partner, you would have journeyed together, I guess, with it, rather than come into a relationship. Yeah.
If you have had any new friendships that you've made since cancer, how do you talk about this? Do you lead with, not lead, but do you bring it into the conversation?
Only if it comes up naturally.
Okay.
Yeah, only if it comes up naturally. And if it was relevant in a conversation. Yeah. What about you?
Well, I was going to say, I think I used to not lead with it, but I think because for a while for me it was all encompassing.
Of course.
It felt back to back, 3 years of fairly
brutal.
And it was a big part of who I was actually at that point, because if I wasn't currently, with cancer, I was getting rid of it, or I was recovering from not having it, and or waiting for the next one. So it felt quite all encompassing. So actually, if I did meet new people, it came into the conversation fairly early. Maybe because I felt like it was an obvious thing to talk about. If I didn't have any hair, I was flat, so I wanted to get rid of any questions, and any ambiguity myself. Now I don't. Less so.
That's interesting, because you're in a different stage, I guess, now.
Yeah.
You've kind of moved on a bit from where you were.
That's it. And my identity has reshaped and reformed and repicked up, and who I am and what matters to me, and so cancer is a part that, and I say you go through a bit of a gate and you can't go back, so it's staying with you.
Yes,
you know, or that experience stays with you.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't have to be
Define you.
Defining. It doesn't have to be defining. So I've loved this conversation. I've loved the context and the content of this conversation, but also I feel very honoured that you're sitting opposite me, because you were such a significant part of my own journey and my coping with my kids. You know, as a very consistent female figurehead in their lives. I feel very privileged that you're sitting opposite me with some mint tea and a shortbread. So thank you.
Bless you.
Last question I'm going to ask you before we wrap up. If you had to give a piece of advice to someone who was newly diagnosed, or very very early into their own cancer journey, what would that be?
Oh, what would that be? Let me think. Just let people love you, let people surround you and look after you. And don't worry about feeling all those emotions, and it'll be different at different times. If you want to be angry, be angry. If you want to laugh and joke about it, that's fine. Just be who you are, because you're special and precious.
Cheers to you.
Thank
you, Toni.
Thank you.
Cups and Courage shares honest, personal stories of people affected by breast cancer. The views you hear are those of the guests and host and don't replace medical advice. If you're concerned about your health, please speak to a doctor or healthcare team. Cups and Courage, the podcast.